This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, May 10th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Wednesday, May 11th. Reverse Aging Health call this Friday, 9 p.m. Picture as far as strength that you have the strength of an oak tree. At the very core of your being is an unbelievable power that contains the mysterious ability to help you overcome anything. Whatever problem, physical issue, or emotional rut that you've been stuck in can instantly be shifted by reaching deep into your soul and accessing your divine nature. Key is here is to believe in oneself, trust, and have faith. Unshakable, unstoppable faith. Our true selves cannot be uprooted. Our soul's essence is permanently connected with a source of divine intelligence that is eternal and changeless. Take this moment to feel how deep your roots are woven into this connection with your infinite being. You are a spirit being who is never, ever going to die. How does it feel knowing the truth? How do we go about making enlightened decisions? To expound and propagate concepts is simple. To drop all concepts is difficult and rare. To expound and propagate concepts is simple. To drop all concepts is difficult and rare. Nisargadatta. Every day, along this amazing journey through this life, we get the opportunity to fine-tune our ability to make healthy decisions that empower and inspire our lives. Some decisions are easy and obvious to make, while others can feel like they're ripping our mind and heart into 1,000 tiny pieces. When we reach one of these major life choice points and have to step into the colossal crossroads, take the time to go through this process below so that you, which I'm going to read to you, which you can make the most enlightened decision available to you. I remember, and maybe some of you remember this, but not all, a lot of us remember this. My mother would say to me when I was growing up, beggars can't be choosers. You remember that statement? I truly didn't understand the profound depth of that message until I was older, later. And this is when I was like in single digits years-wise. And I finally figured it out. My mother did give me some reading information that she had. And so I read it. She said it'd be a good idea if you read this book. And it became apparent that the more I was feeling demanding, needy, and lacking something inside myself, my body became more tense, my vision became more cloudy, narrowed, and incapable of perceiving the infinite array of possibilities in this universe. I realized that the more I begged for what I wanted, the less likely I would receive my desire. And the more challenging it became to relax and welcome in the happy, loving feeling that I was truly after. You ever done that? I realized that the more I begged for what I wanted, I got to have this, I want this, the less likely I would receive my desire. It was like, well, why isn't it happening? You ever done that? And the more challenging it became more challenging to relax and welcome in the happy, loving feelings that I was truly after. So I would look at myself in this decision-making process, and I noticed that my body would feel paralyzed, frozen. You ever experienced that? And contracted around certain choices, while in making other decisions, it expanded with joy as if it found the most liberating gift from this universe. How we are approaching our lives, our relationships with ourselves, and if we can see all the many possible outcomes and choices that could be made, I realize that decisions are powerful teachers designed to force us to look inside ourselves so we participate more intimately in who we are inventing ourselves to be. We are nudged into being the creators of our reality, designers of our destiny, and constantly invited to paint the masterpiece blossoming inside us on the great blank canvas of our lives. If you wish to take your decision-making ability to the next enlightening level, start with the comment or commitment to get to know yourself more intimately. If you can know who you are and what you really want in life, this life, the universe cannot just hand you the scrap decision leftovers that are stuck at the bottom of the barrel. If you don't stand up for what you want, you become like a child who cannot speak yet and simply accept whatever your parents give you. Make this decision right now that you will always be able to clearly articulate what you desire. This one simple choice contains so much potential power inside, it will transform your life into the most interesting ways. It's a big risk to go after what your heart truly desires in life. It is a big risk to go after what your heart truly desires in this life. So get to know why you want these things in life. And what is it going to give you when you experience it? If you had excuses that would stop you from receiving it, what would those be? Who we are in life is not all about what we desire to manifest. Yet our dreams are great pointers to help us unravel the beautiful mystery within. So look deep inside yourself and ask yourself, where do you want to be, do, and have in your life in 1 year from now? Do it in the now. How about 3 years from now? Really sit with these questions. The more clarity you can discover today will impact on some level the quality of manifestation you attract to you in the future or always. Deciding what you truly want in this life can be challenging because it feels like you are defining who you are and who you are not. If we commit to deciding to do one thing, we can feel confined and that we are excluding 1,000 other possible options. The other reason why decisions are often so challenging is the time frame or deadline we form around them. If we had an infinite number of years to reach our desired outcome, we might become so relaxed about the whole thing that it wouldn't matter if any decision was ever made. The enlightened path to discover here is that the limitations we feel around time and resources can work for us or against us. When we are thinking that we don't have an abundance of money, love, time, creativity, or manifesting power, it can force us to get deeply creative. When we have consequences to our choices, a price tag you have to pay for every decision made or not made, we become even more reverent beings who are conscious, choosing who we want to be and why we are here. When it comes down to reality, believe it or not, we have full choice as to if we entertain this belief in limitation or not. The mind will make up all sorts of stories about what is true and real and what is fiction and fantasy. Yet the truth is, we are living in an ocean of unlimited conscious, intelligent energy that has no boundaries or borders. The mind likes to create limitations to play with and believe in some form of pressure around special decisions that have to be made. Yet the big secret here is knowing we are all spiritual beings at the core. Our infinite spiritual nature contains the realization that there are no limitations, no death after the body is gone. Deep down, we know that we have an infinite resource of manifesting power inside us and an eternity of time to create anything we desire. There is no such thing as a person. There are only restrictions and limitations. The sum total of these defines the person. The person merely appears to be like the space within the pot appears to have the shape and volume and smell of the pot. Nisargadatta. There is no such thing as a person. There are only restrictions and limitations. The sum total of these defines the person. The person merely appears to be like the space within the pot appears to have the shape and volume and smell of the pot. To step into the realm of making enlightened decisions, we must choose to start with blowing up the mind. The mind is too small of a container for an enlightened decision to fit in. We must drop the mind completely for an enlightened choice to find its way in. To reaching this place of enlightened insight is not hard. It just takes patience and the willingness to see the infinite realm of possibilities that exist here now. We must choose to be willing to quiet the mind so it eventually stops its desperate, perpetual search for answers. To truly understand what an enlightened decision is all about, we might need to first clarify what an unenlightened decision entails. An unenlightened decision is one that is not self-reflective, introspective, or taking into consideration a deep love and respect for yourself. When you don't know who you are or what your heart truly yearns to manifest in this life, chances are high that you will struggle with every decision that comes your way. This doesn't mean in order to make the most enlightened decision we need to contemplate for several hours when taking any risk or leap in life. When we are in tune with our deepest life mission and purpose, we can make a huge enlightened life choice spontaneously and confidently. You can tell a decision is enlightened when it brings you more freedom, lightness, love, depth, or even more possible choices. An enlightened decision won't limit your future, yet rather will expand your consciousness in every dimension. Enlightened decisions are win-win solutions where everyone benefits in some miraculous way. The most enlightened decision will manifest instantly when the mind is perfectly calm and silent. Here we become truly in tune with our hearts, aligned with our spiritual nature, and capable of feeling what our deepest needs are. The more we are in touch with our spiritual nature, our true connection, our true soul connection to the universe, we will know what we most want to experience every day before we do die. Knowing this connection, every decision-making experience becomes easier and happens faster all along the way. If you are afraid to make any decision that could possibly alter your normal, safe life circumstances, you'll notice that the mind is frozen in Fearville. It is terrified of change, thinking things will remain okay if I remain in full control and don't make any changes. If you're able to take one baby step out of this comfort zone, you won't end up molding and rotting in your cozy safety pit. An enlightened decision maker loves taking risks because they realize there truly is nothing to risk. They know that they are a soul, a truly infinite being inside, and are excited to throw some spice into their life in order to really enjoy the ride. Think about that. An enlightened decision maker loves taking risks because they realize there truly is nothing to risk. They know they are a soul, a truly infinite being inside, and are excited to throw some spice into their life in order to really enjoy the ride. Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Friedrich Nietzsche. To make that deep change and arrive in the liberating land of enlightened choice making, think about those choices you've made in the past that have made your heart sing the loudest. What great risks have you taken that have manifested the most wonderful situation that is still impacting you today? By trusting the risks you have taken in the past, you'll relax deeper into yourself and relax that you are listening to your heart. This is one of the first steps to uncovering your real spiritual essence. Notice how you feel when you're coming from a place of intuition, inspiration, love, and trust. Just feeling into these qualities every day make it 1,000 times easier to become that empowered co-creator of your life and dreamy designer of your destiny. The most enlightened decision any of us can make will always be the one that brings the deepest relaxation into your body and mind. The most unenlightened decision will always be creating more stress, tension, anxiety, and fear inside. The unenlightened path is about basing our future on avoiding or possessing potential. What if outcomes, right? Basing our future on avoiding or possessing potential what if outcomes. If we are desperately trying to avoid something from manifesting in our lives, we are more likely going to attract it and end up being a closed hand for receiving what we truly want. So it'll come to you, but your hand will be closed tight. You won't receive it. If we are always attached to a particular outcome having to happen in order to be happy, we become so rigid that we cannot relax into the happiness when it arrives. Sometimes it seems impossible to make a decision at all in this life. We hit the super jackpot of challenging decisions and feel forced to make a major life choice where there is no evidence, win-win scenario. Our soulmate, life partner, is drowning in a sea of circling, hungry sharks. The best outcome might be what we believe is best for others, or another time it may be only what's in the best interest for ourselves. Sometimes we must choose that safe route, what has been comfortable or known to us in the past, while other times it's better to take that dangerous leap of faith into the unknown. What helps us to find the most enlightened decision when confronted with a real-life challenging scenario is noticing where the choice is coming from. Is it coming from love and trust or fear and tension? The outcome you manifest will be based on the springboard you jump from. If you dive into the water out of pure fear, the sharks will smell that and eat you alive. If you dive in with the passion, love, and trust, the two of you just might escape alive. To find out if your choice is love-based or fear-based, pay close attention to your chest. Notice how the energy around your heart responds when you think about the choice. Does it expand in love or contract in fear? Be aware of how grounded you are in this feeling and how it touches you emotionally as well. In this life, there is always a choice to be made. Even if we freeze and don't make any decision at all, this still ends up becoming a choice. And we must choose to surrender to our default destiny, letting the universe decide what's best for us. This freeze point in decision-making is one of the most powerful transformational places we can arrive at. It is the point where pure, choiceless awareness is found. It is the easiest place where we can create a breakthrough into a higher state of consciousness. When all thought processes come to a total stop, this is the moment when the radical, spiritually liberating experience of pure choiceless awareness comes into play. Is this place, or in this place, is no separate chooser, no ego, or limited being in need of anything. There is simply a relaxation into the spiritual destiny that the soul is already aligned with. The highest states of consciousness are found in the most random and ordinary circumstances. An enlightening experience can show up in a simple urge to move to a new city, get a new job, or change into a new relationship. It often happens when the mind becomes completely frozen and it cannot decide what the right decision will create the most happiness, success, and freedom. It often happens when the mind becomes completely frozen and it cannot decide what the right decision will create the most happiness, success, and freedom. Ultimately, for the soul, it doesn't matter if your ego gets what it wants or not. The soul is more interested in where you are making each choice from. The choice is always coming from either a state of love or fear. Notice what experience are you really trying to have in life anyway? If you could wave a magic wand, what would you honestly want your great destiny in life to be in this life? If you want spiritual freedom, you could choose to stay in the same house, at the same job, or with the same relationship that you've been in for years, as long as you're seeing what a sacred teacher this situation is. You'll be able to love where you are and feel truly free there. However, if you want financial freedom and great material success, you may want to do something radically different and move to that new town with the big job that has no financial ceiling to it. There are no right or wrong paths to take in this life. There are only choices we make and how we truly feel inside about them. The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. Florence Scovel Shinn. It's good to know that every curse we perceive in this life is a blessing. It's deeply eternal, loving in disguise. It can happen that we incur so much intense emotion and pressure around a decision that we tend to hesitate, procrastinate, or distract ourselves with doing meaningless, time-consuming tasks instead. When the mind is wrapped up in fear, we end up trying to avoid feeling the fear by doing things which are somewhat enjoyable and yet deeply mind-altering. When the mind is doing a crazy number on you, the best thing to do is to go for a walk. Have some tea with a friend. Relax with a good book. Let the whole process go. This approach is a conscious technique for trusting deeper in the universe, and it will show you what the best choice is when the timing is right. It may seem like you're avoiding making the decision, yet truly you're diving deeper into the trusting process. This conscious trusting method is powerful and effective as long as it doesn't turn into a lazy excuse for entertaining your addictions, and avoid taking full responsibility for your life. The mind is a trickster. We all know that. And will do anything to avoid an experience it doesn't want to have. Now, if this sounds like you must choose to watch your mind extra close. Commit to only doing the most inspired actions that make your heart sing every minute of the day. And eventually, you'll start feeling really inspired and can relax enough inside to see clarity around which decision to make. Best of all, you'll have the deepest sleep when the day is over. Enlightened choices are naturally born from how we approach the circumstances we're already in. We may first need to discover that we have to stop trying to alter the outer world so that our inner world feels better. Or we may need to alter our outer world to give us access to the things we are really yearning for. However we approach the world, this world, the secret is to remain in contact with what we truly want, breathe through the challenging feeling we're facing, and relax into what cannot relax into on the inside. Relax into what cannot relax into on the inside. This practice opens the door to enter into that all-expansive state of pure, choiceless awareness, which is the breeding grounds for the most enlightened perspective on reality. Once we are living in an enlightened perspective on reality, every decision we make will have this enlightened quality to it. The more enlightened decisions we can make, the more this level of consciousness develops, and the more amazing things that spontaneously manifest into our lives. It's good to understand here that what essentially makes one's perspective enlightened is that the mind is at ease. We are tuned into our spirit essence instead of the circus of thoughts circulating in our head. From this place, every person and situation we encounter is felt through the heart and not just judged and analyzed through the head. We feel everyone for the soul and pure consciousness spirit they truly are. We see live as completely fresh, new, and sacred in all its divine ways. When the mind gets in the habit of seeing everyone and everything as sacred, there is a deep recognition of what's good inside ourselves, a perpetual stream of gratitude, and enlightened choices seem to naturally flow from every thought we have. By surrendering to the idea that everything is sacred, we realize we cannot make a mistake on this spiritual journey through life. We know the universe is ultimately running the greatest show on earth. We begin to honor this truth, feeling more relaxed about our futures. And this helps the mind to see and feel into things more clearly. In deep relaxation, we can feel aligned with the highest outcome the universe already has in store for our greatest possible future. We stop being afraid and worried about what will occur tomorrow and are naturally spontaneous, quick to love, and feeling on purpose and creative. We are truly living in the now, every moment of our lives. This is a deeply surrendering space to live in. And when we can choose it each day, we become capable of designing our destiny confidently, choosing a life we would truly love to have. When we cannot trust the experience of surrender, we remain stuck in the mind, trying to control the negative or positive outcomes and how they might manifest. This deep level of surrender is the most important quality needed for our enlightened decision-making. Skill set. The deeper we can surrender, the more confident we can collect within ourselves and our ability to truly enjoy wherever we are in our lives. Any type of choice we make from this place can only lead to you creating more love, abundance, and a deeper relaxation into our lives. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but the seeds you plant. Robert Louis Stevenson. Please do not worry if you feel lost in your life. We often become lost because the people in society around us are generally truly lost. Most people are not aware of their spirit nature, consciously living their lives with a sacred, loving purpose. So, of course, they are going to feel lost. People tend to fall into the mind's comfortable habits of unhappy or unhealthy thinking, which then manifest all throughout their lives. As far as survival instincts go in this life, generally we humans tend to go along with what the group decides. If we just get along with others, we won't get cast out and die. So we might end up allowing decisions to be made for us by the whole. If you're someone who tends to fall into this sheep following pattern, do not fret. There is soon coming a new experience of life, this life, that is profound and amazing. There is a huge opportunity to make that decision to go deeper into your unique expression and give a voice to that creativity that wants to give birth inside you. It's not that following a group is wrong. The most important thing is that you feel free, empowered, and happy with whatever decision is being made through you. Just make sure you don't have any regrets on your deathbed. A life lived without regrets is a well-loved life. A life lived without regrets is a life well lived. A life that's well loved without regrets. Take one baby step towards knowing how to make enlightened decisions this week by getting to know you better. Take 1 hour and write down a list of everything that you want in this life, including all the areas of life in your relationships, health, sex, travel, money, work, friends, family, home, spirit, and love. Be specific. Please make this an exhaustive list where you don't exclude anything that you might want. After you've made your list, circle the top 5 things that make your heart sing the loudest. Then prioritize these 5 things in order of which makes you feel the most relaxed, expansive, rooted within your body. Read out loud these 5 things each morning and evening in the mirror, stating them in the past tense, as if you have already manifested them in your life. Do this every day for 2 weeks. Notice how you feel different each day you do it. You will be amazed how new things begin to change and manifest in your life. You will be able to make any decision from a much clearer head space with feeling into this list in front of you. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted. I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax our bodies. Head to toe, inside and out. And the way to do that naturally is through the breath. Easy and slowly in through the nose, easy and slowly out through the mouth. When you do this, you still the ego mind, the subconscious mind, because you step outside of them. You don't participate in them. You don't participate in the thoughts the ego mind generates or the subconscious mind. They just kind of float by. You can watch them without interaction, without judgment. You watch how they operate. This is how you master the ego mind and the subconscious mind. Always focus on the breath. It doesn't mean that you're just sitting there. Leave me alone. I'm breathing. It's just easy in and easy out and slowly. The idea is to relax the body that you're in, to move into the now. While you're focused on your breath, you're only concentrating on the now, your breath alone, right? You're not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. You're not entertaining all the ego mind thoughts. You're not being confronted with all the mind chatter. It's silent. This is the space where we begin the journey within each of us. I'm not saying you discover the God that you are in 2 seconds, but the journey is the beginning. There's no end to it. You discover who you are and what you are. And you'll know that you're not the body, you're not the personality, you're not the character, you're not the status in this life. You discover you're the God. You're wearing a suit, pretty much, okay? And through the suit's existence, it gets tattered and deteriorates, and the threads get bare, holes appear, because it's the only suit you have. So you keep wearing the suit, and, bangs and bumps and scrapes of the suit and stains and everything as you go through life. But you're not the suit. The suit will eventually end. You'll discard it. But you, every one of us, go on through an eternity, infinity and beyond. That's the concentration. That's making the transition. That's where we make the transition from the physical material world to the internal world, the God world, pure consciousness world, the peace, the joy, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance, all of it. It's inside of us. Can you see how preoccupied we get? Worried about making this decision, worried about making that decision, stressing and fearing, wanting things to happen that don't happen in the time frame that you wish they would happen, getting more fearful, more stressful. The body just turns into a board. See, we all house our worries, stresses, and fears differently in the body. The body stores them. And remember, we have 60,000 plus thoughts that we generate, each of us, every 24 hours out to the universe. Doesn't mean we know all of them going out. We have tens of millions floating by like clouds in the sky of programs. These are other thoughts. They have really, they're not ours. Other people's thoughts. For decades and eons on this planet, other people's thoughts. Where do thoughts go? They stay moving around. So you imagine all of the noise that we all are confronted with. It's incessant. I had people say to me, how do you get rid of all this noise, this mind chatter? You go into the now. Focus on your breath. The breath is divine positive energy. Some of us are so distracted and become so habituated, and the body does as well, that we need a machine to breathe while we sleep. Picture yourself floating, completely weightless. Okay? You don't have a fear of falling, or, you're just floating, completely silent. You're focused on the breath. That's all you're focused on. And you're in complete silence. You can't hear anything, and nor are you interested in hearing anything. And you begin to realize that I am not this body. Body holds the God that I am. It allows me to experience physical form and physical life, but it is not me. See? So if you put on a suit of clothes, would you say, well, this is me, this suit I have on is me? No. Who are you really? I'm the God within this body. One day this body will cease, and the God that I am will leave it and move on to other things. And believe it or not, in this silence and in this breathing, you can choose to be happy 24/7. Here's the challenge, and it is a challenge for all of us, is to let go of all the stuff right? It's like we come here to enjoy life. So we enjoy all the stuff we can, experience, interact with, right? But we know it's not permanent. We know that that you eventually will leave, and all that stuff is here. So imagine knowing that you are not attached to any of the stuff, but you know that you enjoy the stuff, right? And you really know deep inside within yourself, the journey that you have taken within, that you're infinite. See, when you truly know you're not the body, although deeply grateful for the body for housing you, then the whole perspective of this life shifts. It shifts. It's not that, I don't need to take care of the body or anything because I'm going to leave it. No, you respect the body. You respect the vessel that houses the kingdom of God. You, all of us, never ends. So it's a choice. Each of us. It's a permanent choice. Now you could say a temporary choice, but what good is that? You're thinking about something. You're right. We've all been there. Even in this very moment, you're confronted with something. Your first thing is fear, right? Fear of making a decision. Fear of making a decision that won't work. Fear of making this decision that is going to even be more challenging. Where does that fear come from? Where does it come from? Ego mind. So ego mind instills the fear, which is just a thought. And then we take the fear, we move it into reality, and we experience it. Now remember, it was just a thought to begin with. And so all of us at one time or another in the course of the day, each week, what do we have? Stresses, fears, worries, right? How do we eliminate those? Well, you look at the fear and say, what am I afraid of? Now, some of us will say, well, what's my worst case scenario? You've probably done that, right? Or some of us will say, what's the best case scenario? Or they might do both. Comparison. What's my worst case scenario? What's my best case scenario? And you see, this is where we're challenged because a lot of us will not let go. We won't let go. So we hang on to it. And you say to yourself, I'm going to let go. I'm going to surrender this. But you really don't. It's going through the ego mind. Now, through the heart mind, you sit back in silence, focus on your breath in the now. I release all this. I let it go. It isn't serving me the greater good. And you ask yourself that. Is this worry, stress, and fear serving me the greater good? What are the good parts about it? And then what are the bad parts about it? It's kind of like we become these researchers and investigators. And we're researching our origin of the gods that we are, but we don't remember, so we're going to rediscover that in our journey within. And we wonder why we have all these thoughts and all these worries, stresses, and fears. Because that's the ego mind world, material physical world. What is it? Fear of failure? Fear of being let down. Fear of being disappointed. We have so many fears, it's unreal. Fear of wealth, fear of poverty. Fear of living, fear of dying. Happiness, fear of sadness. Fear of laughter, fear of crying. Fear of eating, fear of not eating. Fear of breathing, fear of not breathing. I mean, it's constant. Fear of walking, fear of not walking. Fear of running, fear of not running. It's just always an opposite. And we have a choice. Do we choose the downstream thinking? That you're deeply grateful for the life you're in, and you stay in a deep-seated way in what? Spirit energy, the God that you are, the happiness, the joy, the bliss that you always have been. You don't need it outside yourself. And this is the power. All of us have it. None of us are without it. Because we look at this planet right now, right? And most, all of you are consciously aware, which means that you know that you're of and from the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And we know none of us are separate. Do you really feel separate? Then you're not in the heart mind. We're not separate from each other. We never have been, never will be, ever, beyond, and forever. So it's basically burning away that illusion of separation. And every time you see someone, you know they're a part of you. And I'm not talking about the body. I'm talking about the God within that body is part of you. Okay? It's not, the illusion that you believe, that your ego mind wants you to believe, is that, well, you're separate from everything. All of us are separate from each other and everything else. That's why we talk about in these meditations, what? That is the God that I am. All of the lights that we create to remind ourselves of things. All of these meditations every day for over 4 years. Crystalline Light Tower, designing, creating that. All the self-discovery of who and what we are. All these meditations is there in a very subtle, loving way, waking us up to who and what we are. We're liberating this planet. That's a fact. Hundreds of millions of us are liberating this planet, consciously aware to a certain extent. We're liberating all the negativity, the darkness, the evil, the pure, corrupted souls. And why are we doing that? Because we want, the main thing that we all want is to enjoy our lives. Isn't it? Isn't that what everybody wants, is to enjoy their life? Is there really a specific, or is it just, I want to enjoy my life? That's what I want. I want to enjoy every aspect of it. Every step I take, I want to be in deep gratitude, thankful, grateful, appreciative. I want to give to others, because when I give to others and help others, I help myself. It's automatic. The more you withdraw, the more you go away from clutching and, holding and pulling, the lower the vibrational frequency of the life that you're living. The more greed, the more, the more wanting, having. And you notice whenever we get a material thing, it's fun, right, at first? Doesn't it feel good? Oh, it's great, I'm going to get this. But how long does it last? It doesn't last long, does it? Temporary. Permanent is within us. Discovering the permanent joy, bliss, and happiness and gratitude is within us. It's the God that within these bodies. It's the kingdom of God. It's the heaven. Heaven is not a place. Heaven is you, the God that you are in that body. The heaven place, with the pearly gates and all that stuff, that's a matrix trap. And 8 billion of us on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, what are we doing? We're shining our light. Where does the light come from? This isn't rocket science. The light comes from the God within each and every one of us, the pure consciousness, pure love, pure gratitude. And that's what we're experiencing every second of our existence. When you make a decision, you make the best decision from the heart mind and say, okay, this is a decision. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to support it. However it goes. Because we don't know, do we? We always want to know ahead of time. We want to know, well, let's see, if I make this decision, will this, and this happen? if I say this, will they take it a wrong way, or will they respond differently? Will they ridicule me? Will they cut me down if I do this way? Are they going to think I'm crazy? Who's they? Well, it's everybody outside of you. Rather than not even being aware of that, you say, this is a decision I'm making. I feel good about this decision. And that puts you in a higher frame of frequency. Well, I better make a decision, you know. I got to make some decision here. I can't ignore it. That's low, that's low vibrational frequency. This is everything vibrates, guys. Everything. Your body vibrates, all of its structures, its cell structure and organs, this body that you're in, which you'll discover you're the power of healing it. All of this stuff, you'll know, you begin to realize that you are constantly protected 24/7 by a white fire armor that basically comes from the God that you are within that body. Everything is created through the God that you are in that body. You wouldn't be here if you, the God, weren't in that body. Obviously, you'd be somewhere else. And when we talk in these meditations about all the archangels and all the ascended masters and all of the light energy beings and all of the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, earth, and beneath earth, all of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes we've inhabited, that's all of us. We're all part of that. We're not separate. You ever walked with a group of people, all on the same page to a certain extent, hold hands and said to each other, we're one. We're all one. The gods within these bodies, that these bodies are holding, are one. That's true heart-minded unification, unity amongst all of the gods on this planet. You visualize after the heart, mind, motion picture, this planet will change, shift like it's already doing. But is there any end in us increasing vibrational frequency? No. It's what we do. Do we cry? Do we moan? Yeah, at times we all do. Do we complain? Yeah, at times we all do. Do we worry, stress, and fear? At times we all do. But do we know who and what we are? Because once we discover that, we won't worry, stress, and fear. Right? We won't be in sorrow and anguish and frustration. We'll be in complete bliss. Because we'll be with the God that we are. And it is for each of us, all the gods that we are, to discover this by choosing, by making a decision, by deciding to decide, right? This is what we do. We decide to decide. So we make a decision. And you say, the God that I am no longer going to focus on the negatives. If someone comes by and all they talk about is negative stuff, you excuse yourself. You say, hey, nice seeing you, I got to get. If someone comes by you and you say, wow, that's a really nice dress you're wearing, even though you don't see many dresses anymore, well, that's a nice dress you're wearing. Oh, this old thing, I didn't know what else to wear. Everything was dirty. I just grabbed it, took it off the hanger. I haven't worn it in years. I really don't like it. That's, you see the energy there? After you say, well, that really looks nice and it's a nice dress. So then what you do is you say, I got to get. Have a good day. Surround yourself with like minded people. And the universe will deliver them as long as you're with the God and not the body. You know, when you're with the God, the body is healthy and happy? Yeah. It's when we believe, when we don't have the memory of being with the God, that we live all the way into the material physical world. There's so many wonderful things by discovering who and what you are and staying within. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose, slowly. And an easy breath slowly out the mouth. Enlightenment comes from consciously being in touch with the core of your experience. This core is where we evolve our consciousness for today. Search for the central core of your experience. This means that you drop out of your head and into your body, feeling what is truly happening inside. Bring your attention into the center of your body throughout the day and welcome whatever shows up in there. Feel your heart and belly deeply, more so than ever before. Let this begin with the path inwards where you discover the core of self-realization. Explore what it's like to truly live and breathe each breath, being in touch with the center of your being. Take this with you for the rest of the day and to the evening and night, following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation